Genshin Impact is a game with a fair few players, I think that's fair to say. With so many players, I do have to wonder how many actually are bothered about trophies, especially considering the majority don't play on PlayStation. So, I decided to check the rarest of the trophies, and when I found the results, they were pretty surprising, so much so that I decided to make this video here that you're watching. Before we start though, let's do some admin, everyone likes that. For the most part, I'm going off the PSN percentage, but for a few of these, they show the same number because it only goes to one decimal place. When this happened, I then used the PSN profile's tracked percentage to determine the placing of the entries. Also, it's totally possible the numbers can change slightly in between recording and editing. Nothing I can do about that. It probably won't change the order very much. If it does, comment, say, hey, you're out of date. With that out of the way though, let's kick this off with number 10, Sumeru, Fluorescent Bloom, 3.4% or 18.29% on PSN profiles. So for this one, you got to upgrade the Sumeru statues to max level. This is the most recent of the statue trophies as Fontaine isn't possible yet. Honestly, this one does make a lot of sense being on here. Sumeru is pretty famous for locking off large areas behind long, boring side quests, and so a lot of people don't want to do them, and thus miss out on the dendroculi that are locked behind them. That makes a lot of sense to me. I always check the map right away and mark where they are using the interactive map as well, and then I run through and grab them all. Of course, with the side quests being basically mandatory for these, that does interrupt the flow a little bit and they're too long, but I think they've learned from that and that no one liked it, and we hopefully won't see anything this time consuming again. I really hope this statement ages well. Number 9, Journey, an Immortal Emperor in a Mundane Universe, 3.4% or 8.77% on PSN profiles. So the trophy itself is for defeating the boss, and I'm very sorry about this pronunciation, Narcissan Cruise, at the end of the Wake of Narcissus questline. The boss itself isn't super hard, though you do need to play as just the Traveler, who I didn't have built, so thanks for the warning game, love ya. The problem, I guess, is that to get to this point, in addition to the questline that the boss is actually part of, you also need to complete the quest chain's Initial Facts, and of the Narcissan Cruise, Ancient Colors, and Unfinished Comedy, all of which are fairly long in their own right. Due to how much actually needs to be done to get to the boss, I totally get why so few people have this trophy, which is a shame because this actually is probably my favourite side quest in the game. I just wish it was voiced, it would have made it a lot easier to get through the cutscenes. Number 8, Journey, Narcissan Cruise Notes, 3.4% or 8.67% on PSN profiles. This is going to be a short section. To get this trophy, you need to complete the one quest you get after beating the boss in the previous section. I don't really know why they felt the need for both of these to be trophies, and honestly the more baffling thing to me is that there are people that have got the previous one, but not this one, considering there's so little extra work needed. I'm pretty sure there's not even any combat in this quest. Are people just forgetting to finish it? I have no idea. Number 7. Fontaine in Search of Fritter Time, 3.2%. This one is for maxing out your reputation level in Fontaine. This is one that I think will almost definitely get more common as time goes on. Reputation is obviously tied to your weekly quests, and so is time gated depending on when you start going for it. It's not difficult at all, and personally I was ready to start it as soon as Fontaine released. But I also do realise that some people start playing the game later than me, and some people just don't engage with the reputation system at all, which also would affect the percentage. But it is also entirely possible that there's a bunch of people waiting for like next week so they can get this, and boy would it be funny if the placement changes in the time between the editing and the uploading. Not funny for me though, but funny for you watching. Number 6. Inazuma Second Blooming, 3.0%. Seeing an Inazuma trophy this high was a bit shocking, pun very much intended by the way, but seeing the prep work for this one made it make a lot more sense. To even get to the point that you can start doing this quest, you have to at least started the Inazuma story, which does take a bit of time from the beginning, and then you need to do the entire Tatara Tales questline, which is time gated over 7 real life days minimum, assuming you don't forget about it. Then you need to go to a newly spawned NPC and give them some flower seeds, which you can only get from trading conches and again potentially being time gated out of it. Then after that, there's 2 more real days of time gating talking to this NPC, and then you get the trophy. Oh, and none of that last part is marked as a quest in the journal, so it's entirely likely that you will forget about it even if you do start it. I think I did actually. Personally, I wish all this kind of stuff was marked at least somewhere, just so like we have a reminder when we log in to do all this time gated stuff. I don't really like the time gating in general, it's kinda lazy, and I'm glad it hasn't been as frequent like in recent updates, but Inazuma was filled with it and it was not fun. Number 5. Fontaine Foncival Waters 2, 2.9%. This one is for unlocking all the teleport waypoints in the 4.2 areas of Fontaine. Pretty self-explanatory, though I'm pretty sure they've started doing this thing where they don't show some waypoints until you discover the area they are, which I personally don't like, as I like running through the map as soon as I start and just activating all the teleport waypoints to make traversing it easier. It's not a huge issue, but it bothers me, so I'm going to talk about it. I don't remember specifically if this is one of those cases, but the fact it's so rare makes me think it probably is. Normally the hidden waypoints are tied to quests and areas locked off by quests, so I kinda get it so it prevents confusion, but just personally, I want to see it. Especially now that there's layers on the map to make it a bit easier. Does this bother anyone else, or is it just me? Seriously want to know this. Number 4. Aesthetics of Ugliness, 2.8%. Another Fontaine quest trophy, and this one doesn't even take that long, so I do wonder why more people haven't done this. You could do it literally right now. Around the early Fontaine map, you can find 5 locations where this girl Salsa wants you to move things around. Not difficult at all. As always, you can find the locations online if you absolutely need to. Shout out to those people, by the way, that always seem to have guides ready as soon as the updates come out. I salute you, and I don't know how you do it, but it does me a solid, so thanks. Anyway, after clearing the 5 locations, you then go to another location and fiddle with some monuments, and then you get the trophy. It really is that simple. If you use a guide, you can get this within 10 minutes. I don't understand how more people have done the whole Narcissan Cruise questline than this little small 10-minute quest. It's baffling to me. Number 3. Truly mouthwatering, 2.6%. Initially I was quite surprised at this, as it's got the same name as a really easy early Fontaine quest. Upon a little bit more research though, it's a bit more than I originally thought, and it does make a little bit more sense why it's this high. You see, the quest with the same name is actually only the first part of a quest chain, and this trophy requires you to do the whole thing. Again, it's not too bad, and it doesn't sound too bad. The part that people I think would be struggling with, or just not bothering to do, is you have to find 7 cores around the map. Admittedly, there is nothing directing you to these, so it is a case of stumbling into them or just looking up a guide, as I said before. After that, you hand them in to the guy, and then you pick up a bit of chicken to get the trophy. A part of me really hopes there's someone watching who just didn't pick up the chicken and now realizes there's a really easy achievement and 5 primos to get. If it's you, comment it. Number 2, Wave Riding Treasure Hunter 6, 2.0%. This is actually the one I expected to be the rarest, so I am quite surprised it's only second. For this one, you need to get 160 chests in the 4.2 areas of Fontaine. I'm surprised this is the only chest-related trophy on here, and yeah, it is probably because it's the newest area, and, you know, obviously the least explored because of that. Normally these trophies are the last to be unlocked in the particular batch whenever they get more added, and I'm pretty sure the same applies to this one. There's not a lot more to add on this. You can use the interactive map if you really need it, but personally I've always found enough just exploring the new areas and maybe using the treasure compass to get the last few. If you're anything like me, you love new areas just so you can see chests again after you've cleared out the rest of the game. And number 1, Exploration Tales of Monstrous Madness, 0.7%. Initially I was so confused by this. For this trophy, all you need to do is complete the Toki Alley series of books. Now this sounds really easy, and honestly, it mostly is. Most of the pages are in static locations, so you can just look it up and go get them, it's not difficult. So why is it the rarest? Are people just too lazy to do it? Possibly, but I don't think that's accurate. The last batch of 10 pages can only be gotten by doing everyone's favourite activity, fishing. Now this is simple, the problem is that it's completely random and the drop rates are remarkably low. There's no trick to it, as long as you're fishing in any spot in Inazuma, you have a chance to get a page. Let's be honest though, fishing is boring at the best of times when you're guaranteed the fish you want, so people not wanting to fish for potentially days at a time is completely understandable. Personally, this took me a couple of days of constant fishing, joining other people's worlds when I ran out of fish in my own. It's really weird that this is a trophy at all, but it is, and therefore the completionist in me had to do it. And that's all of them, the 10 rarest trophies. Any of these surprise you, or was it exactly what you thought it would be? Let me know in the comments, and hey, if you want to change the order, just go get some yourself, it's really easy to do. If you enjoyed, make sure to press like on it because that lets me know you like it, and subscribe for more trophy videos. Thank you for watching, hunt them trophies, and I'll see you next time.